What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today, this is more of like a discussion video, honestly. It's just kind of crazy with the way the Treasure Cruise has kind of been, and just the whole landscape of Treasure Cruise in terms of them just really not going out of their way to make valid content for the game. And what I mean by that is that, like, years and years ago, where if you go to Extra Island, or the Event Island as they call it, there was always something to do. At least it always felt like there was something to do. Nowadays, when you come over to Extra Island, you've got these, Sugo trial events, just basic advertisement for the newest characters that are out. You got these manual quests every single day, but I mean, the fact is we used to have like these clashes that would come out every so often. Like it literally almost felt like almost once a month we were getting a new clash. A new Colosseum was definitely once a month. And those were actually pretty fun to play, because not only do you get access to content that was pretty challenging when it would first drop, but you would also get access to a free-to-play unit that would be kind of nice to have. And it is kind of frustrating that they remove that kind of content and then they give us, just subsidiary content that we don't really want. Like, PKA does have its positives, but I think overall it does feel like a bit of a net negative in terms of what PKA provides to the players compared to clashes and stuff. Obviously there are some positives to PKA, because the amount of the Rainbow Hime turtles, Rainbow Idol turtles, the Daimyo turtles, like obviously those are things that people need, especially with the introduction of level limit break, getting characters to level 150, all that good stuff. Like, it makes sense. I understand why they have designed this content the way that it is, but I don't understand creating this content but removing the original content that we actually did enjoy. As I said, like the clashes and the Colosseums. Of course, if you go to the Recollection Archive, you can play some of the old content, and I do stress when I say some, because not even all of the content that released back in the day is actually even available here, which is something that I think that they should be fixing. You know what's actually kind of crazy is that there's even an arena that still has never arrived into the Recollection Archive, which is the Katarina Devon arena. It never dropped. It never came in here, which is crazy. So if you never picked up Katarina Devon when she first came out, you still won't be able to get her. She's literally an impossible character to get at this point, which is pretty crazy, right? So the fact that when they brought out these Colosseums, these were really fun to play, actually. Obviously, they were kind of weird in a way where they had like easier or like mini bosses you had to clear to unlock the final boss. You would take on the final boss, you would get cotton candy, you can get turtle drops, you get the new character, obviously. And that was basically all it was. You would farm it, you would get the character maxed out, you're good to go. And the character was relatively useful in free-to-play content, in other TMs and other events moving forward. But obviously, the game has kind of strayed away from free-to-play units. They basically have been giving us less and less free-to-play units as time goes on. I mean, the fact that now, in terms of every month, we get basically one free-to-play character every month, where we would get many back in the days, right? Like PKA S-Shark now becomes Super Evolved S-Shark, and that's essentially the only free-to-play unit we get. Sometimes during a big celebration, they'll give out a free unit. Maybe there's a unit that you can get from one of the exchange shops or something like that, but typically we only get one free-to-play character per month, whereas back in the day it would be you get a clash, you get an arena, and then maybe a login character, and then that would be like kind of that. You'd get Treasure Map, you'd get a Kizuna Clash free-to-play character. They've also removed Kizuna Clash free-to-play characters as well, which I don't understand why, because Kizuna kind of needs all the love it can get. For all the harshness that people give Treasure Map, and like it definitely makes sense why people do give Treasure Map a lot of crap. I feel like Treasure Map is like the best game mode for the amount of time that you spend, for the amount of rewards that you get out of it. Like, yes, obviously playing Treasure Map can be grueling at times, but getting to those 10 million rewards, the 10 million point rewards, the amount of rewards you get for that time investment is definitely well worth it. Whereas if you compare the amount of time investment into Kizuna Clash, for example, especially if you are an established player, the amount of rewards you get from Kizuna Clash, it just does not equate. I mean, I've still got some tickets that I should be spending, but if you have a look at box 7, like some of these are just, you don't need them, right? Especially, as I said, as an established player, that's kind of like what I'm stressing here, because all of those tablets that you get, I mean, if we just quickly pull up, like, tablet, like, I don't think I need any of those tablets anytime soon. Like, I've got plenty of them sitting here. Obviously, I could use more of some of them, but, like, let's be real here. Like, tablets are not really they don't really hold the same value as what they did when Kizuna Clash first came out. Like, obviously the first couple of Super Boss Kizunas, it was kind of wild because the amount of sheer volume of tablets we were getting was way beyond what we got access to previously. But after having Super Boss Kizuna for multiple years at this point, and especially if even just like one Super Boss Kizuna where you go ultra hard with your alliance, the amount of tickets you get and then the amount of tablets you can net out of that, like that'll hold you over for a very, very long time. And it's just disappointing that we kind of find ourselves in a situation where these game modes that we, know to love back in the day have just kind of diluted to exactly the same thing multiple years in a row without much change. And Kizuna Clash obviously not having free-to-play units is a pretty big drawback as well, because back in the day, free-to-play Kizuna Clash characters were actually quite powerful, especially the ones you'd get during Super Boss. They'd become like free-to-play units, and then you can super evolve them by getting the skulls in the event itself, and they'd be quite powerful. Characters like Boa Hancock and Monkey D. Luffy, that dual unit was actually quite good. There's been plenty more in the past in terms of free-to-play Kizuna Clash characters, but it is a shame that we don't get these characters anymore. I mean, which other of these characters are actually really good? So as I said, Hancock and Luffy was obviously very good. The Christmas Shirahoshi was not an awful unit either, to be quite honest. This free-to-play Okiku saw a ton of play in other Colosseums because of the special reverse resistance stuff. What else is here? I mean, a couple of good support units in Perispero. Margaret's a decent support as well. Even like this free-to-play Katakuri, I've used it a ton because of the 3-turn chain lock is really good. This free-to-play Ivankov's really good. This Olin, how could you forget about her? And Jack is the other one that comes to mind. He should be here somewhere. The strength Jack, yeah, that guy right there. This Cybrook is really good. This Chopper has a good support. That free-to-play Dex Blackbeard obviously very good as well. Yeah, so there's like a ton of characters here that were actually good when they first came out. And now it's just kind of like, well, I guess we don't get free-to-play Kizuna Clash characters anymore. The fact that we don't get free-to-play clashes anymore. Free-to-play arenas basically never happen anymore. And then you could even extend that out all the way to, like, the challenge difficulty content. The thing about it is like, Garp Challenge, man, they had something crazy good here. Like, Garp Challenges was such a cool piece of content because it wasn't like out of reach of like beginner players in a way. Like, Garb Challenges did definitely have a little bit of a challenge to them, but the cool thing is they weren't like super difficult where like only endgame people could do them, but they could also have these additional layers of difficulty through completing them with certain classes or certain colors, and it would add a bit of spice to this content. And especially if they would rehash this, potentially even if it was like once every major celebration, maybe even twice a year. Let's say like at the 1 year anniversary mark, in May, and then in November during the half annie, if they like reset it where they'd bring out a couple of new Garp challenges, a bunch of missions related to them, and they just like replace those missions every 6 months, that would be an awesome way to get players back into the game, utilize some of those new characters that they potentially pulled during those major celebrations. And I think that would be a really neat way for them to rehash these Garp challenges whilst not re-releasing old content, but, giving a way for people to, use the characters on their account. Because that's essentially how it goes, is a new event comes out, let's say it's a treasure map, or it's a Kizuna Clash, or it's a PKA, they played that new event, and then they don't do anything until the next major event comes out. And this would be a nice way to break up the monotony that Treasure Cruise players definitely experience on a monthly basis, having something different to play. And I guess this could be extended out to like the more endgame related stuff. Forest of Training, obviously very difficult pieces of content. Even to today's standards, if you try and take on the Magnetic Training Forest or the Hawkins Training Forest, it's actually pretty tricky. Like, definitely having the more powerful characters these days makes these a lot easier for sure, but definitely not a walk in the park. They definitely have some things that you do need to take note of when you're team building. And I think that this is the really good endgame content that is worth completing, because you actually get something valid for completing it, getting a new ship. And now they don't even do that anymore. Getting access to a new ship that you could level up, get to level 12, use modifications on them, that would be nice. I guess that also kind of extends to the ship stuff, which I guess we could talk about later on. But in terms of other endgame stuff, I mean, there's just so much to talk about. In terms of other endgame stuff, you've got like the Grand Voyage, and I think Grand Voyage is a bit of a mess. I never really liked Grand Voyage even when it first came out, But nowadays, because the way that this content was designed, it was designed for utilizing some of the new characters that just received level limit break. But now that, you know, level limit break has been out for so long, people have done a ton of pulls on Sugo Fest, and now that we know that level limit break is going to be important for this type of content, when a new Grand Voyage comes out, everyone basically has the characters ready to go. The only real problem is usually investments are like the biggest thing that kind of stop people from clearing this content. It's like the gatekeeper of just, you know, do you have these characters at Limit Break Plus at 150, blah blah blah. If you don't, then you're not beating this content. And it was funny when this first came out, like all of this stuff was super tricky because essentially no one had their characters at level limit break maxed. So now whenever a new one comes out, it's just kind of like a joke, you know. So, I mean, this Twin Cape one is a joke, by the way, because in order to complete level 5, you need the support Rev Recruit Nico Robin. I've never pulled it, so I can't beat this content at level 5. Like, it's just crazy. Like, if you don't have that one summonable unit, and it's a support, like, bro, you just can't clear it. That's crazy. I mean, there probably are ways to do it, you know, with resilient sockets and stuff like that, but I'm not wasting my time, you know, spending like 20 plus minutes per run to not have resilience work, and then I basically lose. Doesn't sound like fun to me. And I guess briefly as well, because we were just talking about it before, like the shipyard stuff, I love the fact that these ships now have these modifications, they have upgrades, they've even given some ships new specials now, so that they have some other uses. But the problem is getting these ships to level 12 is some of the most mind-numbing things I have ever gone through in a gacha game. Like let's just take, like, what's one that I haven't got maxed? I haven't even got the whale shark maxed yet. Okay, so, you know, I got one free one per day. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that real quick. And the amount of berries that you go through just doing this is just crazy. And it's just dumb because why can't I spend X amount of cola to get this bar all the way maxed out? And then just spam all of the results to me and let me pick which one I like. Like, why do I have to sit through 5 rolls and I have to wait for the connecting screen to happen a bunch of different times? Just do one major connecting screen, let me roll it like 100 times in a row, and then let me pick which one I like. And then, you know, once you get to that point, you get the bar fully maxed out, you can go ahead and spam it, and then, and hopefully, you know, you get like the 2 guaranteed modifications at level 4 or whatever it is. But it's just really dumb because people can spend literally thousands and thousands of cola. Like on this whale shark ship, I think I've spent maybe 30,000 cola on this thing, and I haven't got it, the max modifications on it yet. Like, it's just the dumbest stuff ever. I like the idea of what they're doing, but it's always the execution. It's crazy. It's always that, right? Because like some of these ideas are pretty good. Like Cult Quest, for example. I think Cult Quest is a fantastic idea in One Piece Treasure Cruise, but the execution of it is like so middle of the road. Like it's just barely passable, you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people would agree it is not passable and not fit for use for a Treasure Cruise player, but you know what I mean? So there's just a lot of different issues, I feel, and there's a lot of cool things that they could do to improve the quality of the game. As I said, the free-to-play character issue, arenas, clashes coming out every single month would definitely be a nice change of pace. You know, as I said, maybe, you know, potentially twice a year upgrades for GARP challenges, I think would be a really neat way to get people back into the game. There's a lot of different things, obviously, but, you know, this is just some ideas that I had that I was kind of going through, and just things that could really make Treasure Cruise a lot better, because as it stands right now, Treasure Cruise is not in a good place. And as much as they say that they are taking the feedback on board, I mean, they mentioned that in their community post, their community letter in January this year, and we just basically have to wait until they do something, you know? And, you know, I really hope that they don't come out and say, oh, we've created another new game mode that you can try out, because we always get excited for it. Again, the idea is good, but the execution always seems to be lackluster, so I guess we'll have to wait and see about that. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about all this down below in the comment section. I'm sure I share the same sentiment as most of you guys watching this video, and I think that it is a bit of a shame that Treasure Cruise is in the state that it is in, and I know that people behind the scenes are trying to make the game a better place, but it's tough. It's tough out there, especially when you have a look at some other gacha games out there that are being way more generous and they're just treating their community a lot better. It just feels like a bit of a weird situation for Treasure Cruise. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about all this down below in the comment section. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.